Apple, the largest publicly traded company in the world. I didn't label Apple as a tech company because arguably it is not one, and it definitely does not want to be. With its keynote event in March 2019, Apple made clear that it's setting course for a new future, one following in the footsteps of Disney, Netflix, and especially Amazon. In this video, we'll see how Apple plans on breaking out from its history as a hardware seller and on transforming into a digital services company. In January 2019, Apple CEO Tim Cook sent a letter to Apple investors in which he addressed what was clearly a very disappointing quarter for the company. Apple's largest hardware markets, that's smartphones, personal computers, and tablets, are all stagnating, and while Apple is compensating to some extent by constantly increasing the prices of everything, at the end of the day there's only so much people are willing to spend. This is not to say that Apple's hardware division is going out of business. No, Apple will continue selling hundreds of millions of iPhones, in addition to wearables and iMacs. However, it has become clear that hardware alone isn't enough to keep Apple on top. At least, not like it has been doing for the past 2 decades. Apple needs to branch out into new markets, not geographically, but digitally. And the frontier they've chosen to attack is the service business. Now, this might not sound particularly innovative, and that's true. Going to service seems to be the trend nowadays, with Amazon, of course, being the most notable example, as it continues to expand the full range of its services under Amazon Prime. Unlike Amazon, Apple's offerings are much disjointed. Even though it is Apple, it has the hardware ecosystem to keep everything under the same roof. Let's look at the current state of Apple services. You have Apple Care warranties, iCloud storage for when your phone runs out of space, which it definitely will. And then you have Apple Music, which even though it reportedly has 50 million subscribers, it's still nothing really revolutionary compared to its competition. All these services reflect Apple's nature as a hardware-oriented business, a nature that Tim Cook is doing his best to outgrow. So how is he going to do it? Luckily for him, he's a great example to go by. Jeff Bezos was a true vanguard in the services space at a scale with Amazon Prime. Originally, Prime began as a simple extension. Of the Amazon marketplace. You pay a subscription, and you get cheaper and faster shipping. If Tim Cook wants Apple to become a service company, he needs to find a cornerstone around which to base the entire service offering, and interestingly enough, in 2015, Apple launched the iPhone Upgrade program where customers pay a monthly fee in exchange for having the newest iPhone every year. This program transforms the iPhone itself into a service. In the March keynote event, he announced a bunch of new services that will make Apple Prime a much more lucrative proposition. Perhaps the biggest one is Apple's original content service, called Apple TV Plus. While to an outsider, this might seem like a declaration of war against Disney and Netflix, who by the way are also setting up a service of their own in Disney Plus. In reality, Apple doesn't have to compete at all. Apple TV has a significant advantage of being bankrolled by a company with very deep pockets, meaning that Apple TV doesn't have to become profitable ever, as long as it produces enough value for Apple Prime. Although Apple TV content doesn't roll out until late 2019, we already know that it will be pre-installed on Apple's base of 1.4 billion active devices, giving it a huge advantage over streaming services that don't have devices of their own. Apple is also creating something seemingly out of nowhere, a credit card. The aptly named Apple Credit Card shows Tim Cook's intentions. He not only wants to sell you services, but also wants to offer and monitor your means to buy them. That's why the card comes with no annual fees, no late payment charges, and a lower than average interest rate. Its purpose isn't to make money. When exactly will Tim Cook formally announce Apple Prime is anyone's guess, but the building blocks are already in place. Service revenue has only been going up these past few years, so it's probably safe to bet that Apple Prime isn't too far off. And that is the end of the video, everybody. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and click the notifications bell. And until next time.